And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we have the joy of looking at a game called Alchemy. Now this is a game in which you're going to be taking different elements and mixing potions and then using those potions to go after other players. That's actually something that's really fascinating to me, and when I opened this up I was really excited by how cool the artwork looked on these cards. I was a little concerned that the rules were obviously not well done enough that they sent me an extra rule book, but hopefully that's not a problem. Let's find out. In Alchemy, each player gets a small board to put in front of them. There's an equipment/alchemist, a cauldron, and a vial. Now you actually won't use the equipment/alchemist at the beginning in the basic game, in the duel game, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now you're going to put a certain number of potions in the middle of the table based on the number of players. So in a 4-player game you'll have 12 potions placed face down. You also have some components here. There's a deck of them and 4 of them are placed up. These potions are going to be revealed as time goes by. The first player will reveal 1, then the next player reveals 2, then the next player reveals 3, etc. It's just a way to keep the first player from having too great of an advantage. So let's flip these over and see what kind of potions we got here. We have a hot sauce potion. That sounds fun. Hydration, bubble bath, polymorph, spicy chili, and wish potions. As you can see, the potions are very silly, as is... That artwork doesn't seem to match there. Well, whatever. Okay, so on your turn, you can take some actions. You can take one of these cards here in the middle. If I take Aquavita here, I'll get fire and water. And I'll put both of those tokens in my cauldron. If I took Brimstone, I would get earth and fire and put them in my cauldron. I can also take one of these tokens and move it to a vial. All right, so you're going to keep doing this. Those are the actions that you have. Now, if you get actions, so let's say I have 1 earth and 3 fire here, well, yeehaw, that I believe is the spicy chili combo. 1 earth and 3 fire. So I'll take that and put it in front of me, putting those ingredients on it. Now the vial, this game is very specific, so let's say this only needed 3 things. Let's say it was a dissolve and it needed air, water, water, and I had air, air, water, water. That would not work. You can, for free action, dump out your vial, but that's kind of a waste after all the stuff you put into it. So I put these on here. Now, in the future as a free action, I can remove 2 doses from any other potion on the table, but I have to take 1 off this one to take 2 off another one. So that's what this one does. Each of them gives you a special ability. This one here, you can take 1 off of this to add a dose to another potion. This one here, I can do an additional transmute or an additional pour this turn. Transmute is putting this stuff in the cauldron. Putting it from the cauldron into the vial is a pour. This will continue until all the potions from the middle of the table gone, or until there's 2 or less, and you'll finish out so everyone has equal number of turns. Then you'll simply add the number of doses on your potion, and whoever has the most is the winner. Now to upgrade this to an advanced and much better game, according to some people, you will also be drawing from this deck here of alchemy cards. These will give you equipment, and you can place an equipment here. Like for example here, you may add 1 extra air to your vial every turn. Well, that's pretty cool. Or I can play 2 action cards every turn. Or maybe the furnace, I can add an extra fire to my thing every turn. There's also different actions. I can name any element and put it into my cauldron. Or I can destroy an equipment card and make a player remove an element of their choice from their vial. As you can see, these cards make the game much more chaotic, but it adds supposedly some strategy to the game. So that's how both games are played. Victory points are the same in both. First of all, we got to give props to Alchemy for doing something I've never seen before. That is, they replaced one rulebook with the other, but neither rulebook was enough for me to figure out the game. I had to check both rulebooks. So congratulations. That's kind of cool. Then we have the artwork of the game. The artwork of the game is kind of distinctive. First there's that old medieval artwork, which some people like and is thematic. And then there's bubble bath, cool potions. I actually like this artwork a lot, but they're totally mismatched. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, yay, we're making potions to kill you. There's not really any kind of connection there. And the rest of the components are okay. But let's talk about the game, because I want to be very clear about this. This game's garbage. The idea of the game, we'll take different things, different components and different elements, and put them in here, and then use that to do potions. That's not bad. And I don't have a problem with that concept. It's a simple enough concept. Ooh, I'll take that one and that one. It's a set collection thing. Obviously, some Ticket to Ride things. Ooh, I'll take these and finish these potions. But there's some major problems. First of all, the biggest problem of the game is the fact that these potion doses, when you get the elements in here, those are doses of the potion. Those are your victory points. And yet you're supposed to use those to do everything else. Which means if you use a dose of a potion, you are losing a victory point. So therefore it needs to be worth more than a victory point. And almost every potion is not. So players are mostly not going to use them. And that would be one of the most fun parts of the game, to make potions and use them. Why not simply make the potion bottles themselves worth victory points? And then let us use the potions to our heart's content. That'd be very interesting. I want to give players the thing to go after. Also, there's the whole, I'm trying to get water potion and someone else gets it first, and then I have to empty out my vial and start over again, which I don't think anyone in the world thinks is fun. But hey, the second thing are these action cards. Woohoo! Let's add those for the strategic game. Well, apparently whoever thought that wasn't really there when they discussed what strategy or tactics or fun meant. Because these cards are basically like, ha 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 ha, I play that on you, boom, something bad happened to you. Okay, come on guys. That's a really bad premise for a game, and it doesn't make sense here. People are trying to get potions, and it just becomes a random, bungling mess. That game is even worse than the first game. Both games themselves are just not that interesting. I mean, I like the concept, and they could have been somewhere. But again, and again, we see yet another example of a complete lack of development, of a complete lack of playtesters obviously telling someone what they really think about a game, because this game has potential, and it's wasted. Shameful. Don't buy it. Dice Tower Judgment? Trash.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Tutup pintunya!